Hi, this is Lapse of Apathy. I'm gonna be talking about something that it's been on my mind for a while. Uh, I've been an atheist for a certain amount of years. I've been an atheist, and why am I an atheist? Why am I an atheist? Well, I mean, that question has already been answered several times. I'm not sure if I answered it on this video or not. But, I mean, I'm assuming if you've seen my videos, you already know that I'm an atheist that's gone through very many changes, political and whatnot. But I'm annoyed, and I'm rather, angry at the atheist community. Why am I why am I angry? Uh well, I've always been that type of person, even when I have been a Christian, where I believe somebody's beliefs belongs to them. And I really couldn't care less if they were a Christian or an atheist or a Hindu or whatnot. I mean, there was a time in my life when I was a Christian and I thought being an atheist was evil and it was part of Satan's plan, and there was also a time where I didn't even know what the fuck atheism was. And apparently, for the majority of the time, I didn't know what an atheist was. I just didn't know there was such a thing. It's kind of like the whole thing where I didn't know that no one believed in God, that some people didn't believe in God. It didn't appear to me. It didn't make any sense, because God to me back then was as clear as day. It was clear as saying, some men have beards and some men do not have beards. It was a priori truth. It was noticeable. It was fucking logical. It wasn't even logical. It was just obvious. But, I mean, obviously now, I know that to be untrue. But I also come to this sort of mindset where I believe that it's a priori true that you should know that there's no God through historical reasoning. Now, when I say there's no God, I do not necessarily mean that there's no, there's no deity out there. There's no monotheistic deity or polytheistic deity out there that created everything. I'm just talking about the Christian God. Just the Christian God. Because if you look at history of the Christian God, if you look at history of the Muslim God, Allah, if you look at the history of the Jewish God and all the other gods before them, because a lot of people that are Christians, like myself, believe that Judaism was the first monotheistic religion. That Judaism was the first religion, which is obviously wrong, because before Judaism there was polytheism. Now we call it mythology. But what was it back then? Back then, obviously, it was religion. It was religion, just as Christianity. Yeah, we don't see it that way because it's obvious. And that's the point. Things that are obvious to us, we tend to get mad at other people for not viewing the obvious. I do it, you probably do it, a lot of people do it. Now, when I'm looking at it, and I'm seeing it, and I've studied religions, I've studied Christianity, I've studied Judaism, I studied Islam, I've studied Hinduism, I've studied so many other different Eastern philosophies, Eastern religions, Western religions, and I see how it all, I see it how it all basically forms. I connect the dots. Most people don't do that. Most people just join the atheist community thinking that they know everything, because they know that, of course, it's obvious that God, not the Christian God, not the Muslim God, not any other type of God that we made up, but God in general just doesn't exist. Which I'm unsure of. And that, no. Many people would say that makes me an agnostic. And really what I have to say to them is, then really everyone is an agnostic. Well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Well, everyone's an agnostic because nobody knows. Well, I know. I know there's a Christian God. I know there's no God. I know that Allah is the one and only true God. No, you don't. You don't know shit if there's a God or not. And yet, it makes me the agnostic, saying that I don't know, yet I don't believe. No, people think that agnostic and atheist are two different things. No, they're really not. Atheist just means you don't believe it. Agnostic means you don't know. Gnosticism is bullshit. Because no one's a Gnostic about something you cannot prove or disprove. There's headphones right there. Scientifically speaking, I'm Gnostic that there's headphones right there. Because I know there's fucking headphones behind me. Only if I'm delusional and making things up in my head. But other than that, I know that I'm right because scientifically speaking, there's headphones behind me. But you can't say that about something that is beyond the realm of comprehension about anything. If you're saying anything about what's beyond the realm of comprehension, you don't have any argument either way. You have agnosticism. There might be something happening in the quantum mechanical world that I do not know of, that I cannot prove or disprove either way. Because our mathematics, our scientific progress hasn't gotten far enough, or maybe it won't even get to that point, where we can say and where we can prove that something is happening or not happening within the world of quantum mechanics, which that's where basically God is. I'm not saying he's a part of quantum mechanics, or she's a part of quantum mechanics, or it's a part of quantum mechanics. I'm saying that that form of whatever God might be is not, it's not worth arguing about. Now, I'm angry, I'm upset at atheists and the atheist community because they like to point out shit and say, we know because scientifically speaking, God isn't real. Scientifically speaking, you're wrong. I'm an atheist, but I don't know. I don't fucking know. And then you have these newcomers to the atheist community saying that I know because of science. Because of science. You don't know shit about God because of science. That's something that you cannot see, you cannot touch, you cannot smell, you cannot think about, you cannot whatever, because it's in a realm that is beyond your comprehension. But you can't do it the other way around either. You can't be agnostic. You can't be Gnostic about the existence of God either. Because as Christians say, oh, it's beyond your understanding, but we know he exists. That's just as bullshit as saying that he doesn't exist, because in the scientific realm, he doesn't exist. That's like saying string theory is right or wrong, and that string is right there at all times, or it's not there at all. It just doesn't make any sense, because it's in and out of existence. Like it says in quantum mechanics, something goes in and out of existence at random, sporadic times. So random that not even a random number generator could do that, because I programmed before. I'm a computer programmer to some extent, and I programmed a random number generator. But what does the computer science teacher say whenever we're making these things? He says that it's a pseudo-random number generator. It only generates these random numbers at a sort of, there's some sort of law to it that we know of, that I don't really have the knowledge of, but it has something to deal with computer science that is measurable. God is not measurable by our standards, by what we have. Quantum mechanics is not measurable by what we have. That's why we say it's random. So is God. God is random. He might be appearing one moment and disappearing the other moment, or the other way around. It doesn't matter. That's the point we have to understand, is that who cares? Who cares if there's a God or not? Then you have atheists that are Gnostic, like I am, about a Christian God not existing, which is true. The Christian God doesn't exist. To our historical knowledge, he doesn't exist. But then you have these Christians that will say, because he doesn't exist, it means that you shouldn't believe in him, that it's wrong. Well, what's exactly wrong with believing in something that doesn't exist? Yeah, I mean, it's silly, but wait a sec. Yeah, I mean, it's silly, but it's just, you're creating an issue which doesn't need to be argued about in the first place. You don't need to argue, oh, you believe in Jesus, or oh, you believe in Allah, so therefore we need to fight. Well, what's that whole bullshit that you fed to me a while ago in the YouTube atheist community? And I'm not talking about the YouTube atheist community right now. I'm talking about some people I know personally or not personally in my life. I don't understand that. See, I don't understand for making an argument against something that doesn't benefit or harm you in either way. You're making an argument for the sake of argument. Now, you can be making this argument, and you can be non-confrontational about it, which most people are. Most people that I know are. And then you can be sitting around the table and talking about how God doesn't exist. And I could be, or somebody else could be trying to talk about something else that actually matters. Like maybe them trying to push the agenda of teaching creationism in schools, which actually makes sense, which is something that we can obviously disprove and obviously shouldn't be taught in schools because it's not science. But it's the point where you're arguing whether somebody should believe in God or not because, you know, he's real or not real is not doing anything. It's counterproductive. Even if you're doing it amongst yourselves, it doesn't make any sense. Because we're all in agreement here that it's stupid, but it's just a big circle jerk. They put it online on Reddit. It's a circle jerk. Instead of jerking each other off, how about we talk about more important things and stop this bickering in between people who just happen to be Christians and want to live their lives the way that they want to live them within their own homes, within their own families, and without harming anyone, because, there's a difference between believing in God and doing all the normal things any other person would do, because atheists are no different than Christians that don't really take the Bible literally and just live a normal life, and then there's people that are idiots and have no brain stems would kick their son or daughter out for being gay because they believe in the Bible that it says that it's wrong. Those are the people we need to be attacking. Those are the people that we need to be angry at. Those are the people that we need to attack. Be head on with. I mean, be confrontational with. That's my belief. If someone's going to come up to me and say, oh, I had a son, but he was gay, so I took, so I kicked him out of the house, they wouldn't be my friend anymore. And even further than that, if it were possible, I would call them to get arrested. Because this person is insane. That's what it is. This person has no morals. And to believe that because you believe in something or don't believe in something, you have more morals than someone else, atheist or Christian or whatever the fuck you are, that means you're wrong. That means your view of reality is distorted. And to be the certain way where you think that you have to attack someone because they're not Christian, or because they are Christian, or because they're gay, or because they're a transgender person, or they believe that they're a woman but they were born a man, or whatever, that doesn't actually affect anyone except their own fucking selves, and instead of supporting them through that tough time they may be having with themselves and identifying who they really are, you ostracize them? That's who we need to attack. And not because the religion says so or something, because it's the individual. And that's what it comes down to. Because you can be a Christian, you can be a really good person, or you can be an atheist and you can be a terrible piece of shit. But it has nothing to do with your religion. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can say it does, but really in reality, they're not going to stop being that way just because they're not a Christian. And that's what we need to focus upon. We need to focus upon people's individuality instead of their tribalism, this insipid, childish game of tribalism, of I'm a woman, so therefore all women are oppressed. Or I'm a man, so therefore men aren't getting equal treatment of women, and that they're being oppressed in society. Or I'm black, so therefore that means that Trayvon Martin is me. Or, I'm white, so that means I'm a Nazi. No, it doesn't. Okay, people? Get away from this tribalism. Tribalism is bullshit. That's all it is. Just get away from it. Understand, we have individual issues. And instead of looking at someone because they're a Christian, or because they're a Muslim, or because they're a Jewish person, or just because they're atheist or agnostic or Democrat or Republican or libertarian or socialist or whatever they may be, look at them as individuals, because that's the only way that we're gonna progress, because that's a tool to make us go against each other. That's a tool. First it was the Irish, then it was the Scottish, then it was anyone that wasn't Eastern European. Western European. It was the Eastern Europeans. It was the communists. It was the blacks. It was anyone with the Hitler stash. It was the Japanese being in the internment camps in California because we're fighting against them. It's the Muslims now. It's the gays. Get away from it. Realize that it has nothing to deal with the groups we're in. Nothing. We're all individuals. We're all responsible for our own individual shit. If you're a gay hater and you say it's because of your Christianity, no it isn't. Okay, I know you would hate gay people even if you were an atheist. I know you'd hate gay people if you're a Muslim, or you were of the Bahá'í faith, or whatever, if you're a Democrat or a Republican or a whatnot. Because that shit doesn't matter. It's a scapegoat. You're using whatever group you choose to identify with your own insecurities, with your own problems, with your own faults. No, I'm going to attack you. That's who I'm going to attack. And instead of attacking the entire group and making every Christian, every Muslim, every atheist responsible for its wrongdoing, because I'm an atheist, I have a problem with certain atheists in the community, and I take it back that I have a problem with the atheist community. I have a problem with a lot of atheists in the atheist community. The whole thought process that comes within the community, which is a thing, for certain communities, but at the same time, it's not really, because they're individuals in a community that take on aspects of what a community isn't really about, but makes it into that. So that's what we need to get away from. I'm Lapse of Apathy, and I hope that your apathy has been lapsed.